We are starting with our star, and we find the last 24 hours didn't have much in the way of solar flare activity. The coronal hole stream continued its weak impact without much geomagnetic instability, but one of the massive plasma filaments on the north did have an eruptive event, slowly lifting and then tearing away from the corona. This eruption was luckily headed due north, but once again it reiterates how we must closely monitor the plasma filaments as an equally eruptive risk to sunspot flares. Several more on the disk at the moment. First up in today's articles is a good one on the existence of the small-scale dynamo of the sun. Previous studies had suggested one doesn't exist, and now they're pretty sure it does. Their ever-developing understanding of the sun continues to change. Now folks, we showed this paper yesterday on how the sun impacts heart rate, and I mentioned how one of the authors emailed me to let me know the paper had come out several months ago, but I got to thinking, how'd I miss this? Well, it turns out that this obscure journal is one I don't really check. So I went through and dug a bit more into its archives. It's got several papers worth reading, including this one on how geomagnetic storms negatively impact oxygen production from plants. This is interesting and has widespread implications for localized environmental impacts from solar activity. This next one is quite expansive as it reviews the many different ways we know atmospheric electricity impacts biological processes down to the molecular level, and then investigates the various reasons why that might be the case. Lastly, a good follow-up to the one on heart rate impact. For probably the 20th time, we have a study confirming that solar activity does have an impact on myocardial infarction, on heart attacks.